Today I want to have a look at which color I have on my palette in 2024. When I started oil painting in 2021, I started with a limited palette that is called the Zone palette, which is black, white, yellow and red. I started with this palette and then step by step I removed and added some colors. So today I'm still not settled on the limited palette. I still didn't find my perfect limited palette. I'm still looking for a cold blue and I'm looking for a alizarin crimson replacement. So today I will introduce two new colors on my palette and I hope that will complete my limited palette. I'm looking for a limited palette that I can use in the studio, but also en plein air when I go paint outdoors. So let's have a look. So before we start to have a look at my colors, let me know which colors you have on your palette. I absolutely love to know which colors artists have on their palette. So let me know that in the comment section. So here we can start with the white. I have Utrecht white from Utrecht, which is a mix of zinc and titanium white. I have cadmium yellow lemon from Utrecht. I have cadmium yellow light from Rembrandt. I have cadmium red light from Utrecht. I have transparent iron oxide red from Utrecht. I have alizarin crimson from Utrecht. Before that I used quinacridone rose, but compared to alizarin crimson, I feel it's a little light, it's a little lighter, the mass tone. So I like better alizarin crimson. Then for the blues, I have ultramarine blue. Here right now I'm using the one from Old Holland, but I bought two tubes of Old Holland lately. But I used to use, and I'm gonna go back to it after the Old Holland, I used to use the ultramarine blue dip from Rembrandt. So far, from what I used the Old Holland, I rather like the Rembrandt, but both are extremely good paint. It's just a matter of taste. So far I like better the Rembrandt, so I think after these two tubes of Old Holland ultramarine blue dip, I'm gonna go back to the Rembrandt one. For my cold blue, this is one of my issues. I still haven't found a cold blue that fits my limited palette, in my taste of course. So at the beginning I used to use the phthalo blue, but the phthalo blue in the way I mix colors now that I'm gonna develop that my color mixing method. I'm gonna develop it on the channel. I'm gonna make video about it, so I want to share that with you, so I hope that can be useful. Before that I didn't have a method on how to mix colors, so before that I used to use the phthalo blue, which is a wonderful color, but it's just the tinting strength is so strong that right now the way I mix colors is just doesn't fit with my palette. It doesn't work good. It's too strong. So I tried cerulean blue. And cerulean, I don't know, it's also a wonderful color, but I guess that's the other problem, is that the tinting strength I feel is just too weak. So I stopped using cerulean blue. I use it just a little bit, and the cold blue that I used this past week and that I really liked was the cobalt teal. So the cobalt teal from Utrecht, it's PG50 light green oxide, and this is a wonderful color. It really fits perfectly in my limited palette. The only issue I have with it is the same issue that I had with the quinacridone rose. It's the same issue, is that the mass tone is too light. I like to have a mass tone. I like to start with a darker mass tone in my mixing process. So today I will introduce a new cold blue, and I'm gonna do it right away. I just finished the color presentation, and the last color is Viridian from Rembrandt, which is a wonderful green, a very beautiful green. So there it is. This is my limited palette. This is the limited palette I've been using until today, and today I will introduce two new colors. So the first new color I'm introducing is cobalt blue. This is probably an obvious color for most of you. This might be surprising why I didn't have this color earlier on my palette. Well, I'm very happy to have it now. So it is Cobalt Blue from Winsor & Newton. It is PB28. So this will come here in my palette. So I'm not using the phthalo blue anymore, and I'm not using the cerulean blue anymore, at least in my limited palette. I don't exclude to introduce them in an extended version of that limited palette. The extended version of that limited palette will be a palette that I keep in my studio for bigger painting or other projects. And the cobalt teal, I might introduce it back to my limited palette next to the cobalt blue. I will see, but for now I will try to do without it in order to go as limited as possible. I would like to keep only the cobalt blue, and the cobalt teal will probably go on my extended version of that limited palette and my studio palette, let's say. So there it is. The main question I wanted to see today, it's about the alizarin crimson. So alizarin crimson is apparently a fugitive color. When mixed with other color, it's fugitive. Apparently it's not fugitive when used by itself. So I didn't try that. I use it to mix with my other colors. So I'm looking for a replacement. I did a few research about the subject, and quinacridone rose could be a solution, but again it's too light in mass tone, so I will put it on the side. And the color I choose to replace the alizarin crimson is permanent alizarin crimson from Utrecht. And I choose this one because this is a PR 177. So I have good hope about this pigment. I hope it can be a good replacement for alizarin crimson. It's slightly lighter in mass tone than alizarin crimson, but not too much. It's still darker than the other ones I tried, than quinacridone. It's still a little darker than that. So I have good hope, and I hope this will enter my limited palette today. I will finish the tube of alizarin, and then I will start with the permanent alizarin crimson. I will do maybe a video specifically on the subject, and maybe try other possibilities of replacement of that pigment. I know online I have seen, when I did my research, I have seen people introducing other pigment as a replacement. I'm trying to find a single pigment tube. I know there is solution that provide 2 or 3 pigment in the mix, but I would like, if I can, keep my palette with single pigment tubes. I will be also introducing it's a new color too, because my cadmium red light will come to an end soon. So I purchased a tube of cadmium red medium from Rembrandt. So I took the medium because, again, like I said before, I like to start from a darker mass tone. So I will see if this one fits my palette. If it doesn't fit my palette, I have the possibility of adding a cadmium orange next to it to lean towards the cadmium red light. But I think if it doesn't fit my palette, I will just go back to the cadmium red light. So there it is. That's my limited palette for 2024. Of course, it can change and evolve over time, so I will keep you updated if I do any change, and I will redo a video about my palette anyway, because this is something very important. I want to also do video about my color mixing method, so make sure to subscribe to not miss when I release a new video about color mixing.